average consumers are just using ChatGPT in their workflow more than just Google. They're using ChatGPT as Google, and it's recommending businesses or products and brands. The last car I bought was literally recommended from ChatGPT.
If this is like something you're trying to build a brand for and you want to be established, SEO for sure, like you got to focus on it. But you can actually use pay to improve SEO. So like, let's say setting up your analytics, Google Search Console, all your pixels. No one really has it set up correctly. No one has like analytics set up correctly, and they're not utilizing it to make data-driven decisions.
If a business had $1,000 to put into some ads, what would be something that you would recommend them to be thinking about right out the gate?
With that kind of budget, you're trying to get quick wins. So what I would recommend is...
What's up, and welcome to Noble Frequency Podcast. Super stoked to be here with my brother-in-law, Austin Burke, a dude that's been crushing it in marketing for about 10 years now. Stoked to have you here. Looking forward to talking about several topics when it comes to local marketing, B2B marketing, B2C marketing. And I kind of wanted to start with a question for you, just to start off at the top of you defining, how would Austin define marketing versus advertising? I feel like advertising is a term that's thrown around a lot, and a lot of people kind of confuse it. So how would you define that?
Oof. Yeah, that's tough. The way I would define it, for me, marketing feels like more like when it relates a lot to the brand, you know, so you have a lot of brand identity attached to it, versus advertising, in my opinion, is like you're really working the funnel and you're really focused on building those metrics. I don't know, it's just like a vibe I get. I mean, they definitely are almost interchangeable, but like if I say, yeah, I do marketing, it's different than advertising. Advertising can be paid social,
100%.
Google ads, you know, like anything really directed to pay, but it also could be attributed back to affiliate, right? Which is you're paying to be on someone's website, right? Or you're trying to get on Forbes magazine, right? Those are all affiliate or referral sites.
Yeah.
But if you're saying like, yeah, you know, I'm a marketing specialist, or I do marketing, that could be email marketing, organic search, organic social. It could be even like more the traditional, like print.
Yeah, back in the day.
Direct mail. Yeah,
still used, though,
yeah.
for sure, no.
Yeah,
100%,
so
100%.
I guess that's where I feel like the difference is. I mean, and like with those other items in marketing, like organic stuff, you are focused on the brand a little bit more. Advertising for sure, but you are kind of fixated on like, how can I improve my rankings, or what messaging is gonna align better with this audience. It's not really typically focused entirely on the brand. Like obviously you want to be on brand, but there's different creatives or different audience that will pair well together versus other ones.
For sure. No, I like that a lot. And I think my mind goes to a similar place too. And I think of advertising, I'm kind of like thinking about a little bit more of the paid side, like you said as well. So yeah, I love that. And at the top, I also just wanted to dive straight into a little bit of the AI conversation when it comes to marketing. I want to know, in your opinion and your experience over these last 10 years, how have you seen AI change the marketing space, specifically with what you're doing, some of your workflows? How are you using it? And maybe how should other people be using it right now?
Yeah, AI is definitely a heavy trending topic. I think a lot of people are like, you know, excited for it, but they're also fearful, especially in my world. And I think I don't think it's going away. Yeah. So I think you got to adapt. I think you got to be really focused on it, specifically now. I mean, AI's actually been around for a minute. You know what I mean? It's not just all of a sudden ChatGPT's kind of put a label to it, I feel like.
Yeah, it really has. For the average consumer too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But like before, like you could run A/B tests and you could have AI kind of determine whether or not like, yeah, there's a strong correlation with this test, and we see, you know, a significant value here that puts this A/B test better than the other one. That was all AI, right? Yeah. And there's also machine learning, which is kind of typically translated back to AI, right? You're feeding it data, and then it's going to make decisions for you, and it's going to find the correct audience to market to, right?
For sure.
Now it's just ChatGPT's really put a really like a face to it, I feel like. And if you're not attempting to implement it, I think you will get semi left behind.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going away at all. You know, it's like there are some people that are I don't know, there's some people that are anti, which is like kind of interesting, but at least it seems like the professional or like the business space, most people are about it. A lot of people love it because it is helping their workflows like a ton.
Totally.
So even for you, how is it kind of helping you? I know you mentioned a couple things already, but anything like specific you could say that you're using, even like any specific tools besides even just ChatGPT or?
There's a few options out there. I just feel like, for me at least, like I just grown like really familiar with ChatGPT, and I feel like that's just the one I really like use I've got the app on my phone. You know what I mean? I almost talk to it.
Yeah, dude.
About
I talk
anything
to it for sure, especially when I'm driving.
Yeah, which is actually kind of it's kind of sketchy because you're like, okay, you look at Google being, I don't know what percent of the traffic, like as a source.
Bro.
Right, it's like 80%, and then the other 20% is YouTube, right? And that's kind of gone away. Now it's like I will almost go to ChatGPT first because I know I'm gonna get a detailed response that I can build upon. And I think that's the other piece that is kind of missing with these other type of AI tools. Like Google's got theirs coming out, right? They have the AI overview, which is something we could talk about when we talk about SEO. But they've also, on top of that, they have VO3. Right, which is very similar to ChatGPT, and those two actually work together. Like I've seen a lot of different companies or a lot of different individuals, they will build a prompt within ChatGPT, and then use that prompt to build something over in the VO3. Right, so everything's kind of like working interchangeably, which is kind of cool. The way I use it though is I'm all about prompts, man. Like you can almost train ChatGPT to actually write the prompts for you.
Yeah.
Which is, it's almost like Inception with AI.
Yeah, that's true.
You're like, hey, if I were to rank higher in ChatGPT specifically, how would I best set up this type of blog article or like this type of prompt to do it? It will write the prompt for you, and you're like, cool. Like you just gave me the guidelines, and then I can start building upon that.
Yeah, I love that. And something that you mentioned was just even a touch on the SEO and the ranking and how people are finding things. And yeah, I think we're definitely seeing that shift now. As mentioned, more of the average consumers are just using ChatGPT in their workflow more than just Google. They're using ChatGPT as Google, and it's recommending businesses or products and brands. And this is like a little bit more of uncharted territory, I feel like, from maybe the traditional marketing perspective when the play was like, yeah, we just want to rank on Google only. But now people are really focused on ChatGPT in a lot of ways. And even myself, I've found some really interesting things. I mean, like even the last car I bought was literally recommended from ChatGPT, and I wasn't even thinking about it. I was not even like in my first like top 5 choices, but it popped up and it explained all these things as to why it may be a better fit for me. I'm like, wow, I didn't even think about that. And so let me start looking. And then I went down that rabbit hole. So yeah, it's pretty interesting where that's going.
It could be like a more like a personalized journey, right? Like,
yes,
I'm always like, I'll try to like safeguard it a little bit because I'm like, I don't want this thing to know everything about me.
For sure.
It already does, dude. It 100% already know. Like I'll say something like, like 6 months ago in a different chat that's been saved. It will reference it. And I'm like, okay, well, screw it,
It like says memory updated.
Yeah,
sometimes,
dude. No, it's like, well, based off this historic that you said back here, I know that. And I'm like, okay, wow, yeah. So like, that's a great example because, and then this might like translate a little bit like to SEO again. Like, okay, well, how do you rank for it and stuff like that? Like, how should you prepare your marketing, insights, articles, blogs, and all that stuff, or just like any type of content on your website in general.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's all a personalized journey though. It's like you build upon that same thing. And the thing though is ChatGPT is using Google still, right? So like if you took Google out of the equation, where's it going to get its information, right?
Yeah, no.
Bing.
Yeah,
it's like, right? And then it searches Google, and then what's on Google is you have Reddit, you have all these different reviews, you have Trustpilot, you have all these different areas where users are submitting like informed, right? Like their personal experience. And then it just takes that. And again, it's just like matching it. How it does it, I have no clue. Like, because it's instantly.
I know.
It's literally like instantly.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think that's also a great point. Where is it getting its data? It is still using Google, like you said. And like if you are ranking on Google and you're showing up under different topics, whether it is like your website or just content that you're making. Like, so it just proves that it's still important to like,
Yeah.
you know, be focused on some of the SEO aspects and the traditional aspect. So I kind of wanted to bring the conversation back to a little bit more of a foundational kind of point of view. And I was curious how you would kind of define some of the levels of marketing when it comes to what some businesses are doing when they're kind of starting out versus scaling. How would
Yeah.
you kind of define some of the different levels of marketing between
Yeah.
those two?
Yeah, so this would be a cool time, I think, to like introduce like maybe some like potential local business like starting up, like an actual example. I think would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
love
like
that.
I think if a good one, actually, I just had a conversation recently with a buddy of mine reached out because his cousin wants to start a mobile detailing business,
Okay.
and he's already kind of done some items, right? So this is definitely a local business. Like he's in California. He's not gonna try to market to New York,
Exactly.
right? So it's a little
different play there.
definitely
you know,
different
than-
play, than just a normal business that's doing a national
Right.
side of things, right? So
100%.
for starting out, like, you know, I've read somewhere that I can't like put this in actual like data to like prove it. It's just based off consensus and like different sources that it comes from. But I think it's like 30 to 40% of businesses, local businesses that have a website will see a higher increase in lead generation just because it builds trust, it builds credibility.
Yeah.
It also gives you that opportunity to then build upon like your different offers on your website.
Yeah.
So first thing, like he doesn't have a website, right? So this guy doesn't have a website. He wants to start a mobile detailing in a certain area, right? So for him, he's looking for a certain clientele. So for starting out, it's like, okay, at a very foundational level, it's like, where do you want to start your business? And like, where are the areas that you want to like who is your target demo that you're trying to capture, right? So his is like more high end. So he's going to look for certain zip codes that, you know, fit a certain demographic or income level. And then from there, like just knowing that target audience, like, door-to-door sales, dude, to start out. And he's already doing that, which is phenomenal. And he's landing customers.
Wow.
Yeah, because no one else is doing that for mobile detailing, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of I don't want people to go out there and start doing that, but it is pretty clutch. So
For sure.
as a starting place, like he's got to build a brand. So he's got to have like some type of logo, some type of identifier, something unique. I always thought too of like if you're gonna do some cool colors, like have a cool polo that you have like an outfit that kind of represent it. I think that'd be kind of unique too. Like it also builds kind of trust and credibility when someone comes looking professional, like you know they're gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
Instead of just showing up in like a tank top. Yeah.
I feel you.
So like building a website,
Okay.
getting Google Business Profile up, you have to get all your directories in order. Directories would be like anything outside of like Google, right? Like Yelp, anything local to your businesses.
Yeah.
So like a key thing for SEO there is like when you are building these out, like your name has got to match across all these directories. Your phone number needs to match across all these directories. And your address, it's called NAP, NAP. Those things have to be in sync, right? So you can get kind of penalized and kind of get mixed, you know, search results, you should say.
Right.
And then reviews, dude. Reviews going to be everything at an organic level. So like building those out for sure to rank.
I like that. Okay, that's really interesting because that is something I wanted to ask you too. It's like, yeah, for someone that's starting out, I feel like people will debate whether they should I make a traditional website or should I just focus on social media? You know?
All of it, all the above, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because so for this example, right? And like we really touched like just a really high level there, like, yeah, build a website, right? We're not talking about the local listing pages that you can do on your website. Like let's, you know, if we're in Murrieta, right? And I want to do mobile detailing inside of Murrieta, I also want to target like Temecula. Let's just say those two cities. Like I could build out my whole website, right? Which is about all my offerings, my services. Like I'm going to, the basic package, intermediate, advanced, whatever that is going to be, like exterior, interior detail, right? All the information. But then I can make it specific to Murrieta and I can make it specific to Temecula, right? And those are going to help me rank for local terms. Because then you got to think about what people are searching for. And this is where like, this is now like you're focused on inside sales, right? You want to get people to reach out to you so you can get and sell them your service. But like, what are those people searching for? It's going to be really like low funnel, mobile detailing near me, right? So how do you rank for that? And a website is obviously going to help with that. And then your business profile is definitely going to help with that, right? So it's all these little things that are tied back to the local side of it.
Yeah.
So that if you do go the social media route, like, and you want to rank for these people that are searching for near me terms, having those social media presences also backfill onto your Google business profile, right? So it's just another way to.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Talk to me and share the tip that you told me about the picture naming type of thing.
Yeah. Weird, right?
Yeah. I never heard of this before until you said that. So.
Yeah. So on Google business profile, like we talk about, you want to rank higher for these certain keywords, right? And it's like, okay, well, how do you do that on that level of things, right? Specifically Google business profile. It's naming convention of your files or like your posts that you submit. So if you upload a video, you better name it to your area, right? So like, let's say it's Noble Frequency, Mobile Detailing, Temecula. Boom, that's what your video name's got to be. Or like any imagery that you're going to put up, like you got to include the name, the city, the areas you're trying to target, and then try to include a major keyword in there as well. Yeah, which is kind of interesting, but that's like one way to take on the map pack is what they call, like that top 3 tier of the local searches.
Okay, yeah, super interesting. And so, it sounds to me that like you're saying if someone was starting out, then putting a focus on SEO is important. It's going to be like a big deal versus just there are some people that come to the game with money and they're like, I'm just trying to run the ad play too. What are your thoughts on those two different approaches?
Let's define the two because they're definitely different, right? SEO is search engine optimization, and that's everything organic or unpaid. Okay, obviously paid is paid. So one's a quick win and one's a long-term goal. The way they really intersect well too, like if this is like something you're trying to build a brand for and you want to be established, SEO for sure, like you got to focus on it. But you can actually use paid to like improve SEO. So like let's say a certain keyword that you're trying to drive for, you drive a lot of traffic through paid advertising to your website, but then you're also trying to build it with SEO. Like you're telling Google that people that search for this like keyword, even though you're bidding on it, and it's finding the right audience, it's finding the right user based off other KPIs, which could be like time on page, like even if they didn't convert, time on page, a low bounce rate, very like long scroll depth, like close to 100% they're scrolling down on the bottom of the page. Those type of elements are going to tell Google like, hey, like when people do land on this, this ad and they do find this landing page, you're getting traffic there. You're starting to build a little bit of rapport with Google. So they do coincide, but SEO is a long-term play. Like if you hire an SEO agency, you're looking at least like 6 months to see results.
Yeah, for sure. No, I like that. That's really good. And something that comes to mind is, depending on who's maybe listening to this and what their business is, it sounds like what you're saying is it totally depends on the type of business you're conducting, what the play is going to be. If it's going to be a local 100%. SEO kind of thing, or maybe speak a little bit more to the e-commerce guy. Maybe they're trying to sell like some clothing. And they got a new brand. Yeah,
I love B2C. It's like it's so much easier. Let's talk about So like there's the 3, right? We talked about local, which is like a plumber, right, or somebody that's gonna have like an establishment.
Could be me. I got a podcast studio.
I'm
a local guy.
100%. Yeah. There's the consumer side, right, which is like clothing that they're selling everywhere, right? So it's not really fixated on local. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Unless you have like an event that you're trying to promote in a certain area, right?
True.
And then there's the business to business side, right? And I think that is the most challenging side of marketing, in my opinion, just because of the sales cycle, right? So that's the other thing too, is like B2C is like quick. Like it's at least like 7 touch points and then you're going to convert typically.
Right.
B2B could be like, we got the lead, but now we're trying to nurture them. We're trying to get them back on the phone. Like we got to set up sales, right? And sales is involved. Yeah. And then that sales cycle could last 2 years.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different because then you got to figure out, okay, like how can I nurture this lead, right? In order to eventually become a client. But for business to consumer, like clothing brand, when you're selling to any type of consumer, it depends. Like first off, you got to choose a CMS, management, basically where your website's going to be built upon. I prefer Shopify all day. There's also WordPress. We can do like WooCommerce and stuff like that, but Shopify is just out of the box, man. Like it's just
makes it so easy,
so fast. You can upload a product super quick.
Love that.
Obviously, you have to have that, right? You need a checkout process. They also have like the option to do like point of sale, so you could have like display in certain stores if you wanted to, and actually drive back to your Shopify store, which is great. So you're collecting all your sales and revenue in one area. Like it's still being able to be seen across all your analytics.
Oh, wow, interesting. That's cool.
Social media, obviously. Like I feel like this is super high level, and everyone understands. Like for that piece, yeah, you definitely need a website.
Yeah.
It's just like what is going to be different now is like the type of ads you're going to be running. Like your audiences are definitely going to be different than local or business to business. Yeah, man. Like I don't know which part you want to dive into for business to consumer, but
I mean, I don't know. I think as far as like the first part I asked you, I think that was a really great answer. I mean, one of the things that kind of comes to my head when I even think about like B2C, if I'm somebody that is trying to start some kind of brand and sell maybe to the masses, like what I said earlier about just even the way people are approaching it with like SEO or paid ads, like obviously in this case, it's going to be maybe for a lot of people more of like the ads route. But one of the questions I have for you is, what do you see as like one of the bigger mistakes that people are making when they're jumping into, okay, I got a new company, a product, I'm stoked to get online, Shopify, got it figured out. I got some money to put out ads, but what would you say are some key mistakes people are making in the beginning?
Okay. Let's break this down, I think, into different levels. I think people would appreciate that. So like there's the startup, right? They're just starting out. Then there's like the small business, the middle, right? And then there's like the enterprise level. Because there are still mistakes being made at all levels.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously, startups can have a lot more because they're not maybe setting things up correctly, and I think that's where the biggest mistake could be. Like for example, you're setting up let's just say for e-commerce, you're setting up your Shopify store. You got it built. You got all your organic socials built, but there's a little bit of like back end stuff I like to call like optimizations that, and this is gonna be this is nothing new. It's nothing like groundbreaking, but setting up like your analytics, Google Search Console, all your pixels. Like somebody's like, you know what, we're not going to run ads on TikTok, I don't think. It's like, okay, well, you still set up the pixel because you want to feed that pixel data from all your other sources, right? Because that thing is going to collect data. So when you do go to run ads in the future,
right,
especially if you're trying to scale, you want to look at, diversifying and go to different platforms.
Yeah. You
want that pixel to be locked and loaded. And by that pixel, I mean like loaded with information with added cards, purchases, right?
Right.
Which brings in another conversation is like why you should use Shopify is they have a great integration already that's going to tie back into like Google Ads, Facebook or Instagram.
For that stuff.
Yeah. Cool. So like all your conversion actions being like those events that you're trying to build audiences on, like add to carts, initiate checkout, purchases, right? You obviously want all those to build out retarget audiences. Even for prospecting, I've seen a lot of success with that. Which, like, and this kind of goes back to the levels of it. So, like, somebody starting out, they're not going to have very much pixel data, right? So, they're
Define
definitely...
pixels for people that don't even, like, know what that means. Like, what is that?
Yeah, so, like, the pixel is, like, it's a script, right? That's tied back to your Facebook account or your Instagram. It's Meta, right? So, it's actually not Facebook or Instagram. It's just Meta, and they have both on there. But it's basically, like, a script that goes on your website that's going to just track based off cookies, right? So cookies is like what everyone kind of knows is how you get tracked through different websites. Yeah, you can opt out, but it fills that up with, within the data layer, just different things about each user, like, and that's very important because when you do go to run ads, and this might be a little bit more the next level of things. When you do run ads in your ad campaign, like let's take a look at Meta for example. You can set up different campaign goals. Right. And those are going to be finding certain users based off the campaign goal. So for example, like if you set up more top funnel, you might do like a brand awareness or reach. Right. So that's just like targeting literally anybody at that point. It's nothing like specific. But if you're going very lower funnel, like you're looking for people that are going to more likely to purchase, Meta has all this data on us, right? It knows that, hey, last week Garrett went to this website and made a purchase through Meta. Right. So I'm then going to find users like you that are more likely to purchase through Meta.
It's crazy. I'd be tracking everybody like
that's why you got to that's why you got to fill the pixel though, because it needs that data. Because then you go back to your top funnel campaign. Let's say you fill your pixel with top funnel data, right? So like you have all these different people come to your website, boom, it's filling it up, right? So then you have an audience now to market to, which is more middle funnel, right? And maybe it's like us versus them, or it's like features of the product, right? A little bit more about why they should buy it. That's your middle funnel.
Yeah.
That's also building an audience. And then you retarget them further with your bottom funnel, which is going to be like, check out now. Here's a discount code or something, right? But once you get that information, right, you get a lot of purchases. This might be like the mid-level now of e-commerce, right? Like you're more small business. You actually have a lot of different purchases or checkouts, right? Different customers. You can then take that and upload it as a top of funnel, and build a lookalike audience, right? So you build a lookalike audience. So like, hey, anybody that matches that's similar to Garrett, I want to target people that are very similar. And it's just like, it takes the guesswork out of it. So top funnel, you're looking at different interests and stuff like that, and just trying to get anybody, but you want the right person, obviously, to your website. But when you upload a customer list and you build lookalike based off a percentage, you can go like 1% to 10%, 10% being the most like Garrett, then it's going to just be like, okay, cool, I know exactly who you're going for.
Right. Dang, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. And on top of that too, like we talked about AI.
Yeah.
Meta also uses AI. It's called Advantage Plus. So they have it at a creator level, they have it at an audience level, they have it at a campaign level. So like at a campaign level, it will kind of, if you turn it on, you can say, hey, my budget is $800, or let's say it's $500. You're allowed to go up to $1,000 if you want to. That's what you're telling, Meta with AI.
Right.
Or at a creative level, you can say, you can add, music if you want to. You can add these touch-ups if you think it's going to improve the conversion rate.
Right.
So it has all that where it's like,
does it test it too? If you're like,
yeah, you can set up tests like that too with it.
Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And I saw a lot of, I think it's great if you have, again, a lot of pixel data.
Yeah.
Starting out, like you could use it, but I recommend you probably start with testing your own audience that you think are gonna, or like they're called interests. They're like different demographics basically on that platform. But
okay, yeah, super interesting. Okay, so that's really good for, like you're saying, like a B2C type of business. And when it comes to B2B, I'd assume like some of these strategies are going to be similar, right?
There's some overlap, yeah.
But what would you say maybe kind of like differs for that?
Yeah, so obviously like good old pixels. Going back to the pixel, it's different. There's different events being measured now. It's not like you're obviously not tracking purchases with B2B, right? And so like there's less like middle funnel indicators. Middle funnel being like on B2C, it's like, oh, did they initiate the checkout but didn't purchase? Cool, I can track that. Did they add to cart? Did they view this product? Right? Like those are like definitely middle funnel. Like, you have their interests. With B2B, it's like, cool, I have page views. You could probably build up some custom conversion actions, which would be like, did they start the form, but then didn't fill it out? That's definitely like a middle funnel type of thing, right?
Right.
And that's where I feel like that's where it really differs, because it's like, how do you nurture them, right? If you're trying to get somebody that's interested in potentially, doing a deal with you, like what type of, it's just the creative changes too. Like all the content is going to be a lot different. You're looking more like, how can I get more like nurture leads is what we like to call them, or like anything that's going to download something to give me their contact information. Like you have to get that in order to then nurture them through your funnel.
For sure. Okay. So since we're on this ads conversation, if we kind of bring it back to, we could even say, let's bring it back to like local business.
Okay.
If a business had, let's say like $1,000 to kind of put into some ads, what would be something that you would recommend them to be thinking about through this process, like right out the gate?
Yeah. The local business, they're looking for leads, right? They're looking for, with that kind of budget, you're trying to get a quick wins so you can kind of rebuild that bank with revenue, right?
Yeah.
And so what I would recommend is, if you're going to, definitely recommend Google Ads 100%, because you want to rank higher in that map pack that I was talking about earlier, which is the local listings right there, those top 3. Is
so Google over like Facebook and Meta.
Oof. Yeah, I think so. But I've also seen, just because like you're with Google, it's the intent behind everything, right? Like the intent is this user searched for this keyword, like they're actively looking for this. Instagram and Facebook is like, I'm trying to get you to to come here, right? Like I'm trying to like show you that, hey, I do this.
Like maybe they're just scrolling to like decompress,
1000%.
and then an ad pops up and they're just not even in that mindset. They're just kind of
And there's ways where you can kind of make it a little bit more like, oh, I was just thinking about that. And that's based off more mid-level, I think, though, because like you have data in your pixel to say like, hey, I'm looking for people that are similar to this, that are maybe like in market. Also with Google, you can do that though. Like you can build your ads around people that are actively in the market looking for this thing. And then it's, hey, I only want to bid on this keyword, right? So like, and it's a near me, it's gonna be higher cost because it's higher competition, but it's also the intent behind that, which is I think is very important to kind of define is with paid search and Google search, it's all about the intent. One thing I'll add to that too is Google search is like, how do you know which keywords to actually go after for your business specifically? Once you build your ad account, there's a thing called Keyword Planner. And you can go in there and put a list of keywords in. You can get search volume in your area. So it's not like the whole US. You can, really define it back down to Murrieta, Temecula. And then you can say like, hey, I have all these keywords. Maybe one of them stands out where it's very lower funnel. It's longer tail keyword, meaning like it has more words to it, essentially, which might be better for that $1,000 to be spent. But you're getting someone that's actively looking.
Right. Okay, interesting. Do you think it's a similar strategy for maybe the B2C clothing brand type of company, or?
That's tough. It's definitely, I think if you're starting out, I like heavier on the social side. Only because, and it depends. Like if it's clothing, definitely on the social side, just because. At least for me personally, like I discover a lot more brands that way, right? And you're going against some big dogs when if you're selling shoes, right? You're going against Nike, Adidas, and you're just starting out. You got your $1,000. You're like, all right, cool. Like I'm gonna put all my money in this one keyword. And I mean, there's different strategies too, like to approach that, to where you could potentially show up first, and that's that's a more advanced, I would say. You're changing out the bidding strategy now, like, because you can bid on impressions, you can bid on like maximize clicks, maximize conversions. You could also bid on absolute impressions, like at the very top. So you could bid for that number one spot. Obviously, it comes at a pretty penny, but you could potentially show up. I don't know if that's worth it. That you're really banking on that one impression that you're going to get to seal the deal in that one order, right? So
for sure,
that makes me feel like, yeah, you should definitely lean on the social side, because you can, again, build those top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel campaigns a lot more efficiently for your dollar there.
For sure. That makes sense. Totally. And then for B2B, I'm sure it's going to kind of vary depending on like what the business does. But would you say in that sense, it's going to be more of a Google play, or?
Yeah, I do, only because, again, it really depends on your business, right? Like, but to me, it's like you're probably offering a service or a solution. And again, we're going back to the keyword intent. So somebody's actively searching for this, you definitely have a better opportunity to capture that lead there, because they're searching for it, right? So then you can build your campaigns out that way. Right. And I think a great way to this would be a cool little like tip for building out, at least for paid search advertising, a good like structure for your campaigns is you typically want like 3 core campaigns. So like you'll have a branded campaign. It's branded campaign if you're established, right? If you know people are searching for your brand, you want to have it on there just to beat anybody else out, essentially. Yes, you'll pop up organically, and like maybe you don't want to bid on your brand name, but others are, right? So you do want to just show up first no matter what. And it comes a lot cheaper for you. So have a branding campaign, which is, like I just said, like your branded keywords. Have a non-brand campaign, which is exactly what it sounds like, not your brand in the keywords. And then I really like this one is the competition, or like a conquesting campaign. I think that's a great way to build awareness and also maybe take over some market share for some competitors. Like it's kind of, sometimes it's frowned upon, right? Because you're bidding on your competitors' terms.
Right.
But at the same time, like you want to win over that business, especially, and this is also a cool tip, I think, is you're bidding on the terms where people are frustrated, right? So like, let's say like, someone had a bad experience, or they're thinking about potentially not using you, right, as like the company to go with. Let's say Noble Frequency is like
Damn, bro, don't use
yeah.
me as an example.
It's like a brand that offers some type of solution, like whatever, right? Like a keyword I would like want to bid on is Noble Frequency reviews, Noble Frequency customer service, right?
Yeah.
And then you pop up with your brand saying like, hey, did you mean your brand name, right? Or something about, being customer satisfaction on that landing page.
Right.
We haven't even touched landing pages yet, which is the other like second half of ads, but
yeah. We can get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah, I'll kind of reiterate the three structure. I think it's important because I think anybody starting with paid search, there's definitely a lot to do when you set the things up, right? Like the conversion actions, right? Like how is Google going to know that the ad that's serving to keywords, right, based off the user's profile, right? Like how does it know it's being successful? You have to build out those conversion actions. Those conversion actions could be tied back to GA4 stuff, which is like those events. Right. So like submit a form, purchase, add a cart. Those are all events.
Right.
So you got to have those in place. But then having the branded campaign, non-brand campaign, and then the competitor campaign, I think that's a great place to start, especially for business to business. And then like building those out, like I know this might be still kind of somebody new to it, right? It might be a little like overwhelming. So like you have campaign, ad group, ad, right? So then your ad group should be related to maybe the service, especially if you offer like, let's say you offer 4 different services. Each ad group will be a service. And then the ad group relates back to the keyword, right? And this will tie into landing pages. Okay. So then you have, let's say a specific, service solution. You have different keywords that relate to that service or solution that people are going to search for. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to cannibalize your campaigns. You want them to compete against each other, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Right. So like, and there's ways to do that. You can add exclusion lists. Like, let's say there's some like duplicates between your non-brand and your competitor campaign, right? So you might want to add like certain keywords or exclusions to each campaign. So they're not bidding at the same time. Some people argue that it's okay for them to bid at the same time, but if you want to see which one's working well, then I recommend that you would exclude them. Right. So then we have campaign, ad group, and then we have the ads. So the ads, the way those are showing up for, let's say, less money, like lower cost per click, is based off the ad quality. And that's related to what's in the ad headlines, to what the user's searching, right? The intent behind it. And then obviously the landing page has to, like, if you're searching for, red shoes and you see an ad pop up and all of a sudden it's like tank tops, you'd be like, nah, dude, that's not what I'm looking for. You would leave. Yeah. And then you get a lower quality score and all of a sudden you're paying a lot more money and you're not showing up for when you should. Plus, you're, again, going back to AI, machine learning, you're feeding this information back to Google. And Google's saying like, oh, wow, like we fed this ad to this guy and then he clicked on it and then he left immediately. All right, I'm not going to serve it to that type of user because everyone has a user profile within Google. That's how it's kind of, you know what I mean? Because you're also
tracking, all that stuff.
It's an auction. You know what I mean? Like, with
sure.
other competitions. So, and we could talk about, I think another piece that we could talk about later is big budget. Like, how do you prioritize your budget with certain things like that? Because the auctions do play a key role in that. But again, so going back to the landing pages now, it's like it's got to relate back to the ad, and then from there it's conversion rate optimization. It's like, okay, if I see like a lot of the traffic that I'm getting from the ads is, you want to differ between quality and high quality, right? Okay. But you can kind of do that now on the landing page side. Like, what is your conversion rate from the user landing on the landing page and then filling out a form, or landing on the product page and making a purchase? Because then you can figure out, okay, is it an ad problem that I'm not serving the right keyword, or I'm not showing up with the right ad headline and I'm getting the bad quality traffic? Or is it a landing page problem and it's actually on my website? That's where conversion rate optimization comes in. And it's like, okay, I need to fix something here because I'm not converting. People are dropping off.
Right. I mean, that gets pretty deep.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to do it, but that's
no.
That's like the next level of things. It's like everyone thinks, oh yeah, I just turn on some ads, and start running them. We haven't even touched about data analytics, which I'm finding out based off my experience with different jobs, working with different companies, working with some as like consulting a little bit here and there, is no one really has it set up correctly. No one has like analytics set up correctly, and they're not utilizing it to make data-driven decisions, which I think is very important because everyone is kind of going off a little bit of emotion And like, no, I see this creative. I think it's gonna work well.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, what do the data tell you? Because
okay, let's talk about that a little bit. Then that's kind of interesting. So what mistakes are you seeing there specifically?
Not even looking at it. 100. So some people like set it up and then that's really it, right? But if you really truly want to know, like kind of what I was just talking about with the ads and like the funnel, basically, so they land on an ad, they land on the landing page, they don't check out, they don't fill out a form. The data is going to tell you like why. So a cool little report that I like to build, I think it's very great, especially for a little bit larger teams in marketing, is kind of like a quick like recap of the week. So and it's a 4-week, like you can picture like, you know, almost like a PowerPoint thing, right? Like I use GA4 and I use Looker Studio, but you can kind of make some really cool like graphics. I think you've seen before.
Yeah, I've seen your stuff. That's great. Super helpful.
Yeah, so you can do like a 4-week.
Especially for the visuals out there.
Honestly, we should. I think it'd be really helpful. But you can see like a 4-week, you know, look back window. So we have this is something you would check Monday morning. Like your entire marketing team should check this every Monday morning to see like what did last week do. You can even make a week to date one to see how you're trending. But that's if you want to, right?
It gets a little more advanced.
Yeah, it gets a little more advanced for sure. But you set out to where like you look at last week versus the previous week, and then you have 2 other weeks to kind of just a 4-week, you know, run through. And then you could set up a 4-week running average. So then it's like, okay, did last week beat or did it fall short of that 4-week average? It's a really quick way for you to say, okay, yeah, we did really well, or like what happened, right? So let's say it's a lot. Let's say it's like 4,000 sessions, because that's maybe one of the KPIs you want to look at. 4,000 sessions less last week than it was for the 4-week average. You're like, okay, what happened? So then you have another chart to the right of that has your channels broken down, and then the same setup before, you know, the 4 weeks, and then you see, oh, it looks like organic search dropped by 3,000 sessions. So right off the bat, your week started off with, okay, we did less than we did before, and I know it's related to organic search. So then you can dive into Google Search Console, which you should have set up, right? All right, which keyword dropped off, right? Or a good example for paid search, right? Because people are running paid ads, and everyone's always tied to that because they want to see, you're paying money, so you always want to see good return.
Yeah, for
anything above like a 2.5x, right? You always want to see that. It's a great way for you and your team to be like, okay, cool. It looks like we dropped off 2,000 sessions. We look over at our channels. We see paid search was the reason, because you have that set up, right? Okay, why did that happen? And you have maybe another chart, and I set up to where it's like paid is its own thing because people are so, you know, focused on it.
See that.
Yeah, want to see your returns. But you could see like you could have your spend set up as well for each of those categories. So paid search, paid social, whether that be like LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, right? You could have those kind of set up. That's a little more tricky because you have to use some third-party stuff to get all that in there, and then you blend all of it together. But did the spend go down? And if it's plateaued, you just drop down in sessions, then you know it's a click-through rate issue. Or is there more competition all of a sudden?
Right.
That's a really quick way of like to start your Monday to say, dang, okay, I gotta go find this, something broke. It really helps for, I think, for e-commerce, because it could be like your checkout broke. You know what I mean? Like, or something's not loading correctly. And if you left that running, like you're leaving money on the table.
For sure. Yeah. That's interesting. So I'm trying to, I don't know if I heard you right, but just a little bit ago, were you saying people that are doing consulting, those types of people aren't looking at the analytics?
Literally everyone.
So literally,
Just from my experience, like, it's like, it's kind of like on the back burner. Like you might have somebody kind of look at it. I mean, like, yeah, we have like, you know, 200,000 sessions a month. It's like, okay.
But what's happening, really?
Yeah, what's happening?
How long
like,
are they there? You're just actually filling out.
You're just spending money, huh?
Yeah.
Like you gotta be able to make some.
Yeah, the conversion.
And sometimes you have some, you know, I'll say higher ups or executives, right? They want to run down and they want to justify, you know, why we're spending so much money, and then let's say you want more budget, right? Like your marketing team wants more budget to spend because you think if you had more, you could do more. Like you need data to support that. You can't just be like.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean?
What about like, so no, that was all really, really great and insightful for sure. But what about for some of the entrepreneurs, business owners that are like smaller teams. They're just either some of them are
Scrappy.
just one man shops, or maybe they got help from like somebody. They got one hire working on some of these things. Like, what would you prescribe those people to kind of be like more focused in looking on when it comes to the analytics and the ads? Because it can get deep, you know?
Yeah,
As
yeah,
mentioned.
and it gets overwhelming for sure. And entrepreneurs, man, they wear every single hat. You know, I
Yeah.
know, right?
Yeah, they're focused on trying to worry about the business. Maybe their expertise and background isn't in like paid ads and all that stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So some of the platforms, like for e-commerce, you already have some built-in analytics within Shopify, which is actually the one I prefer when I'm doing e-commerce. Like I'll still use Google Analytics to give me those quick, the little rundown points, but they're not always going to sync entirely.
Okay, interesting.
Some of the data will be missing. Shopify will always be your source of truth.
Love that.
So for those guys, like I wouldn't spend too much time because you have so much other things. Like anybody starting out, like you should definitely focus on like just kind of things that are already built in. So like Shopify already has that built in, but then you're really like e-commerce, like you got to be focused on the creative and messaging. We haven't talked about messaging either, and I think messaging is like almost the next level. We can kind of talk about it now.
Let's shift into that because we've done a lot of paid ad stuff, which I think is helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But let's go into like the messaging side of things.
So specifically for actually business to business or business to consumer, I think it's very important because you can definitely persuade someone or make someone feel a certain way by the way you say something, right? Or the way you present the information.
Yeah.
And that's where I think conversion rate optimization. So this is on the landing page. This is on your ads as well. Okay. So like, let's say like we kind of talked about, building those interests and those audiences like on Meta or like on LinkedIn, right? And you've paired it now with a creative. This audience works really well with this creative. And that's measured by a metric or a KPI that you guys decided. Like for top funnel, it might just be clicks to the website. For middle funnel, it could just be purchases or lead generation. And then bottom funnel, the same thing. So you've kind of defined like, okay, this is what makes this successful for us. This audience works really well with this creative. Okay, so now it's the messaging, right? Because you've kind of like, how could you improve this? Like, how can you scale this? And that's like the next step. So a good example that I've seen is like for one of the companies that I'm kind of working with, right, is like we run like a very successful ad because it has a ton of credibility based off the source that it's coming from. I won't name it, but the source where it's coming from, right? And
I think I know what you're talking about. But.
Yeah. Yeah. So like it has that,
sure.
right? So you don't have to do too much with it, right? But now we're testing audiences and we found a winning creative. And so now it's like we got to fixate a little bit on the messaging. Like how can we critique this thing? Let me switch the product. That way I can actually talk a little bit about what I'm describing.
Give a clear example.
Yeah, let's just still do e-commerce, but yeah, we'll just kind of like make believe on this one. But so like, let's say like I said, you have a winning creative. So now you want to test out the messaging. I think a cool way to do it is make that the only variant. So like the background image stays the same. If you have a button on there, stays the same. Everything stays the same except for the messaging. And the messaging could be on the creative. It could be in the copy that you put around in the ads, right? You can do headlines, you can do just short text and stuff like that, right? But you want 3 versions of that, right? Because then you can take this, let's say you find like, wow, this messaging works even better with this audience and this creative. Cool. Now I'm going to copy that and make that a blueprint for everything else I'm going to do. Like you've kind of captured that. So that's on the ad side. Like that's at a very like simple way of describing it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
On the landing page, a good example could be like, testimonial, like for business to business, like testimonials and case studies work really well, right?
Yeah, for sure. Similar to like their reviews, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like if you were local,
Yeah, 100%. And especially if you're middle of the funnel. Middle funnel meaning like you're actively looking for a company to work with, and now you're kind of like comparing companies. So what sets you apart, right? And so I think that's where the messaging can play. So like a good example is, let's say on your landing page, you have like, we worked with 4,000 clients, or we serve, like 2,500 different stores or something like that, right? And that's all you said. Like you could spice that up a bit to change the thought process in the consumer's mind. Like, it might be kind of subtle, but if you did it everywhere, like it would start to make sense a little bit. So you could have like, like a 5-star above that, not related to anything, but just showing like 5-star, like above that, messaging, you could say, instead of saying we serve 3,000 clients, you could say we serve 3,000 happy clients. We serve 3,000 5-star clients and stuff. You can kind of critique the messaging where it's like, now it's like you're seem a little bit more professional or a little bit more credible, I should say. Right. So like it's those little things about the messaging that I think is like, especially in my career right now, like that's where I feel like I really am trying to tap into. I'm really trying to lean into some of the consumer behavior, like focus on scarcity, focus on social proof. Like most people say this, or most of our clients enjoy this, right? You can kind of like change the perception a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think that's important to think about for sure. That's like really like next level, honestly. I'm curious too, from your perspective, like let's just say like for me, for example, right? Like let's say I wanted to like sell these hats. Obviously I'm not like a clothing brand, but if I wanted to go Shopify and we're talking about landing pages and I have no customers.
Yep.
I can't say like
Loser.
I have 4,000. I can't say I have 4,000 happy clients. Like what are some strategies in the messaging that you'd recommend for someone really just starting out? Like
especially in the competitive market of hats, right? That's where the branding and that's where the marketing really comes in. We go back to marketing and advertising. I think marketing really relates back to the brand, right? But you gotta, first off, it's gotta be something that like your brand's got to stand out in a certain way. Someone's got to be attached to it. They got to be, affinity, essentially, like attached to, like that's like that's part of their values or that's part of their own brand, like their personal brand. Like,
so you're getting deep with it.
I'm getting deep, dude, because it's going to be a separation tool. You can't just be like, let's say that's a golf brand and like, cool. Yeah. Noble Frequency is a golf brand, right? Or like Noble Golf.
Some people buy hats just because they look cool, They
buy one.
Yeah, no, they're not like diehard brand lovers, but some people make money quick like that. Yeah. I'm saying it's a good strategy.
They definitely do. There's definitely a market for it. But if you're trying to build a brand and you're starting out, I think you really got to like fixate like on a niche or like some type of thing that's going to say like, I'm targeting this group of people. You should wear this because you also believe this. You align with this values. Yeah, because you could buy, any golf hat. Like you could buy. Why don't people like Titleist? That's why there's professional players that wear certain brands.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Nike, someone loves Tiger Woods, and they're diehard Tiger Woods. Now Nike starts seeing some profit out of that because they're like, cool, right? You know what I mean? Or Jordan, like that movie Air.
Yeah,
they put their whole brand on that line, dude. They put everything on Michael Jordan, and then boom, look where it's at now today.
Good play.
But but going back to like the messaging, like how could you do it? Like, man, you can always kind of, you shouldn't probably lie on there, but like you can kind of like maybe you get like a few people to say some good things about it, and those are your testimonials on there, right? Or like maybe, and I think if you don't have that, and you're really trying to like stay true and not fabricate really anything, right? Then I think it really goes back to like I'm also trying to do the same thing, you know what I mean? I just haven't spent too much time on it, but being able to just really like you wear this because it looks cool, but then also like it aligns with your values, and I think that's the best way to win someone super early.
Okay. So in the messaging specifically, then
it's gotta be that's like everything, the messaging, right?
So what would I say then? Let's say like my hat's not that deep, and I don't have any clients or like reviews. Like, what's something practical that I could actually like put in the messaging?
And this is for business to the consumer because you say clients, but you have customers, right?
Sorry, let's say customers. Yeah, exactly.
And is there anything unique about it at all, or it's just like that hat? I'm
just making an example out of this hat, but let's say this hat represents people that like, maybe they want to start their own podcast. They want to get in the creator economy. They're more on like the social game.
Yeah.
I don't know anything there that
it's just tough, man. Like that's where the A/B testing really comes in.
There's also like a lot of influencer marketing stuff that's kind of interesting.
But that's personal branding. They've already kind of built themselves like you've seen these fitness influencers do it all the time, right?
Yeah, they drop a clothing line all of a sudden.
Dude. But like it's the same thing with Nike and Tiger Woods. Like you're gonna wear that brand because that dude built it. Like Alpha Land, dude. Like they go to that gym or they wear that brand because like, dude, this dude is sick. I've been following him since day one. Love his workout plans. He's probably aligns a little bit with your values too, right? Like if someone's outspoken about something that you don't like, you will kind of disassociate yourself from that brand. So it's like, for that, it's, again, it goes back to like, it's just got to align. But like, in terms of like messaging, like that's got to be like a trial and error thing. It could be, you know, like for my stuff, like for all the guy, like I've been thinking about doing something that's a little different than just kind of the other brands out there, where they're very kind of streetwear. They'll have like, you know, I love Jesus across their shirt, right? But like, you see that shirt and it's like, Garrett, what brand is that? You have no idea, dude. Like, it could be any brand that kind of just makes that.
Exactly.
So my stuff is, or at least what I'm trying to do, this is a great example because I have like no following, right? But like, my stuff is like, I'm going to try to make it represent like uncancelable, right? Like, think about like, you know, like patriotism for the US. That's like how that's how you should feel about God and Christianity. Like, I know being like prideful can be a sin, so it's a little contradicting there, but like, I'm proud to be a Christian. You know what I mean? Like, so like, it's like that kind of mentality. Like, I'm going to wear it with pride, you know, type of a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
for sure.
I'm not going to say, you know, some very, I don't want to get too political, but like, you know, like woke something, right? Like, if I said something like that doesn't align with my audience, I'm like, I'm not going to wear that, dude.
Yeah,
I'm not going to buy that.
For sure.
So it's,
so you're taking a stand for sure.
Yeah.
And like, that's important in brand.
But then it's people that feel the same way. And so that's where the messaging can really make a huge impact. Like, you know what I mean? And that's where I think you got to start.
That's good. I like that for sure. That's actually like a really good strategy, I think. You know, if you know your values, the identity of it, and then you're dropping in your messaging phrases or things that are just like all in that, then it's like, okay, I feel
and the design looks cool. Like I dig it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like another benefactor of it. You're like, right on. Like, but the whole thing is like, I wear it because you could wear any, you know, type of like, you know, Christian clothing brand, but why would you wear mine? Right. You know, or why would you wear, you know, another one? Like, it's because of what it stands for, or like what it represents.
For sure. No, that's really good. I like that. Okay, I'm curious a little bit about just the email marketing side of things and what you think are some approaches people should be kind of focused on. You know, we can hit the three, like briefly. We don't have to get like too deep, but let's just say, let's bring it back to a local person. What do you think are like some really practical things they should be focused on in their email marketing, or should they even be focused on their email marketing? Like, maybe it's not equal for everybody.
Yeah, that's tough. With that type of level, it's like maybe top of mind. So like a good example might be a loan officer or like a realtor, right? Like,
talk to the realtors out there. There's a lot of this.
Hey, when you need someone,
good,
right? Like, who do you think of? Usually it's somebody maybe you've seen recently in your inbox, especially if you worked with that somebody. Definitely don't lose that contact, right? Because eventually they're going to know somebody or want to work with somebody, right? So having that top of mind presence in that instant, like, don't overwhelm them maybe, but there's definitely some key value there. Business consumer, dude, you got to be. Email is free. We call that, you know, it's like free marketing. You know, it's free revenue in a sense. Like, you didn't pay to do that. Like, you built the customer list already, right? And now you're getting return, right? And that's where it taps into like, okay, how can I increase my lifetime value of a customer, right? Which is how many times are they going to purchase? How much are they going to spend over the 1 year, right? Or the lifetime as a customer. But dude, like those ones are a lot easier to say, yeah, you should do email marketing because like you can build a different loyalty programs, right, within the emails. Like, I'm going to target off people that are engaged, who haven't purchased in a while. These are my main top dogs. They always purchase things. I'm going to give them a cool discount because I know they've been good to me, right? These are the people, the win-back emails, right? Like, they haven't engaged with the website or anything at all. I'm going to send them up, maybe them a discount as well to get them back into the flow, right? There's cart abandonment. Like, there's tons of B2C is like a no-brainer.
Right.
And then B2B, you got to do it too, because remember, the sales cycle is a lot longer. We're talking up to 2 years, maybe a year, right? Like, okay, well, how do you keep top of mind? How do you keep in front of these people?
Remember those drip campaigns kind of?
Drip campaigns. The only thing about that, though, is because you have a marketing team, more established B2B brand, right? But let's say you have a marketing team that's sending emails, and you have a sales team that's also probably sending emails, right? They're called more sequences. They look more like legit emails from Gmail or Outlook. They look less commercial or less, corporate.
Yeah.
But definitely still send them. And maybe it's like based off follow-ups. You could also create kind of different segments based off what they do in the email, right? So like for a realtor, this might be kind of cool, right? Let's say you have different sections within your newsletter and you see someone clicks on one of those sections, that could almost like quantify them to be a different nurture campaign now based off what that information was. But this might be like, maybe the realtors don't do this because they don't license this in different states. But like, let's say you're like, yeah, here's something about Texas, here's something about Florida, right? If someone clicked on Florida, you kind of like, oh wow, this guy might be interested in moving to Florida, right? You can almost put them in a new segment. That might not make sense for everyone here because they don't have licenses everywhere, but
yeah, it's business dependent.
Just kind of like get the brain flowing of like, how could I utilize that? But we haven't even talked about UTMs, which is also like important for tracking purposes. I think that goes back to every level, especially like people starting now. So UTMs are just ways to track your clicks and get attribution. Attribution is a whole thing, dude. Attribution is like, how do you give credit back to marketing? And I think it's a lot of like startups and like entrepreneurs fail to do is they don't know how to give credit. Like, hey, is it working? I don't know. It's because you didn't set it up correctly, or maybe you forgot to add this to the links, you know?
Yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah, so UTMs is like the campaign, the medium, and the source. So like the medium being like which channel being like, is it direct, organic, paid social, right? Yeah. Source being like, was it Facebook, was it email, right? And then campaign is like whatever you want to name it, but.
Yeah, that's really good. That also gets really deep too.
I knew this was gonna happen, dude. I was thinking about it on the way over here. I was like, I don't even know exactly what to talk about. I would love to be able to break this conversation to each level. So anybody does kind of watch, tune in, they might be like, oh, that's kind of interesting, or get some value out of that. That'd be
100%.
That's great. But
no, I love that, and I think I'd love to have you back on in the future, and we could maybe like tackle something more specifically to go deeper on it, because some of the stuff that's been mentioned already throughout this whole podcast could be its own episodes.
100%.
Like you can get so deep on some of this stuff, but I don't want to. Yeah, I guess I don't want to go like too wide. We've talked about a lot of stuff already, and is there anything else that you feel like is important to mention in this discussion? Before we wrap it up? Yeah.
One thing goes back to landing pages. I kind of forgot about it, but especially I've actually seen this in like enterprise level companies too, which is kind of interesting. But separate your organic or web pages with your landing pages. So what I mean by that is, don't just run an ad to like an organic landing page or an organic web page that you have on your website. Duplicate that page and make that a landing page so it's separate, and then you do no index. No index would be like so it doesn't pop up on Google, so you don't get penalized for SEO stuff. But the purposes of that is because we talked about paid search and building out those ads, and they got to be relate back to the landing page. Well, how are you gonna do that if you have like maybe it's like one service, but then there's tons of different keywords that may not relate back to the landing page as well? Well, you can keep duplicating those different landing pages and serve different URLs to each of those ads. So like, for example, like if you had like podcast studio or like recording studio, right? That might be a little bit different. It's kind of a weak example, but on one landing page, you could have in the headline on the landing page, right? You could have podcast studio in Marietta. On the other landing page, you'd have recording studio in Marietta, right? And it's just going to lower your costs. Plus it's going to get better. It's going to serve a better ad. Plus, it's going to be like the intent of the user is going to align better. They search for a podcast studio, but then they go to a landing page that says recording studio. You're like, is that what I want? I don't know.
Yeah.
So separating those two, I forgot to mention that. Like, don't just go straight to your homepage, right? Like, don't just go to like straight to your service page.
That's good.
Separate it out so you can kind of have those keywords be more tied back to the ad.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting for sure. I don't think most people are thinking about that in the beginning, but that's like that next level. That's a big brain move there for sure. All right, sweet. Well, where can people kind of find you if they, want to check out some of your stuff or?
Yeah. I would say just hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm always down to like, hop on a phone call and just kind of do like quick audits or overviews and then give pointers and stuff like that, Especially if it comes from like a, like a friend or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And is there anything else you want the people to know about? Anything else that you're working on? You mentioned the brand a little bit, but you know,
Uh, yeah, I mean, I am starting a Christian clothing brand called All to God. Um,
love
I
that.
feel like it's a really good timing just in the world, definitely in a spiritual battle. That
Sure.
and it's to the point where it's like you say Merry Christmas now. You know what I mean? Like you're not saying Happy all. I feel like it's got to the point where like everyone's kind of fed up, and
Yeah.
now let's take a stand and kind of just bring it. You know, you want all your loved ones, you want everyone to accept Jesus in their heart so they can go to heaven with you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I love that. Thanks for coming, man. I think we should definitely run this back and maybe we'll just get more specific on some of those topics. But
yeah,
stoked you were here and yeah, I think it was a great episode.
appreciate it, dude.